Look at what's going on now while you are 50. Look at your job, look at your health, and look at yourself. And what are you giving to yourself at the age of 40 or 50?
Welcome to the Zami Nobla National Organization of Black Lesbians on Aging podcast. We are your sound source for Black lesbian herstory. I'm your host, Angela Denise Davis.
My name is Midgett. I'm very excited about doing this. Very excited. Because although I write erotica for older women, lesbians, or whatever wants to read it, I think it's important for women to know as you age from the waist down, you're not dead. Now, you can go at it two ways. You can either have a partner or you can do finger love. But you're not dead. That's my point. You're not dead.
Well, we are so glad that you allowed us to interview you. We're here in San Francisco, California, in Bernal Heights on location, away from the home studio, and thought we would have some conversation with you about the work that you do, how you started writing, and just your general sentiment on being an older Black lesbian. Let's start by you telling us your age.
I am 82 years old, but it's hard to believe. I remember the maypole in kindergarten, like it was yesterday. And then all of a sudden, I'm celebrating an 82-year-old birthday.
You are what 82 years old looks like.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
And I don't believe it that I'm 82, but I will tell you, I'm enjoying it because I don't see it, I don't feel it, and I have a plan to live to be 100, not 101, but 100.
Okay.
And I'm determined to finish my book to help women to realize that as you age, it's wonderful. You can look back at your past history. No regrets. No regrets. Because now you can start again. You're older. You've either retired or maybe you have not retired. Maybe you're still going. I'm still working. I don't know what it is to retire. I don't have no sense of retiring. The only thing I knew about retiring as a young person was that the white man went fishing or he went to Florida and he fished. That's all I know. Everyone in my family, they didn't retire. They worked and traveled. They never used the term retire. Annie Lane bought a Jaguar when she was 60. Grandma went to the West Indies every year. What does retire mean? They were having fun.
And what's so exciting about aging now is that we are really seeing a new paradigm shift where people are thinking about aging differently and celebrating aging differently. Having worked in the area of career development for a number of years, one of the things that was very present was the fact that more adults were continuing to work beyond the age of retirement. Whether or not they were doing something they'd done previously, it's clear that there is a wealth in older adults. And so we're here today with you talking about the wealth you bring with your writing and your public speaking and just getting a sense of what you're doing today. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in writing in your books.
I graduated from college. I went to Lehman University in New York, and I took English, creative writing. And the teacher told me I could not write. So I moved out here to San Francisco. And I went to City College. I went to State. But I graduated from Antioch University, okay? The teachers told me I was a profound writer when I went to State. He said, "You are great." When I went to City, they said I was fantastic. So that's when I decided it was time to share a wealth of information with individuals from my writing. And I write erotica, but it's not necessarily for sex. Like one of my books, it has children, work, employment, medication, all of that. Because I want individuals to read that this is all this information is all part of the aging process. Because each day you age. If you decide to have children, you age. They get older, you hopefully get older and wiser. If you're working and you're on a job and you don't like the job, but you're turning 50 or 60, and then you say to yourself, okay, one more year, 10 more dollars, $50 more, and then I'll retire. And then maybe you might go into bad health. So don't look at it that way. As you age with joy. And if it is a question of you retiring at 40, 50, or 60, leave the job and go on and enjoy yourself. Don't give the job all your time, all your money. And I've had a couple of jobs, and I left as a young person because I realized I didn't think I was appreciated. I mean, that's what I thought, okay? Because I put in all that time on these jobs. I worked in New York City. I was a bookkeeper. At that time, I was in my 20s, and I thought money was so important.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then I joined the Army. So when I got out of the Army, I moved to New York City. You know, everything was happening. Big-time job, big money, bookkeeper. I wasn't happy. I was not happy there. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. The only thing I knew as a Black lesbian, I wanted children. That I knew. Anything else, it didn't matter. So once I had them, then I realized, where am I going from here? Because they were growing. And for me, it was not about being a mother or staying at home. I was fortunate enough to be home. But when the children were growing, what was I going to do? Sit home? No. Look at the children? No. I sold Avon. So I was home, but I always met people. And I was a top sales lady in New York City.
Were you partnered with another lesbian at the time?
No partner. What I wanted to do was to have the children, but I didn't want to adopt any children. So I didn't meet this wonderful guy. My mother did. He was a gay guy. And we became buds. And I said, I'm back in Boston because I'm looking for somebody because I want to have a child. He said, I'm game. So that wonderful human being, male, is 56 years old. Monday.
Your son. 56.
My son. Yeah. He's a wonderful. In fact, he's on my Facebook, my YouTube, advertising with me, my sex book.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll see him. He's a handsome little guy, And he says, when the children came, the Starks didn't bring them, so you just listen to my mother. I'm like, it's fantastic. Yeah.
So when did you know you were a lesbian, or how did that coming out process work for you?
For me, I just felt as I always was. There was there's no answer. There's no answer for that question. I do remember my mother taking me to a shrink because the neighbors talked about me. So I don't know what they did, but mother took me to a shrink. And I remember the ink blot test. I remember that. And I remember either writing or talking about a house. My girlfriend had a briefcase and we had children. I think I remember that around 6 or 7.
So you were that young when she took you to a
Yeah. She never took me back, but that's always been in my head. So it was always there.
Was there a reason she did that, or it was just
I think because of the neighbors, because I used to hear the neighbors say,
right,
there's something wrong with Mary. There's something wrong with Mary. And I think my mother used to say to them, mind your business, but I think mother would take me anyway.
At that time, were you showing same-sex affection? Is that why the neighbors thought something was...
I was a tomboy, if that made a difference.
Okay.
Yeah. But I wasn't masculine. You know, I had my little dresses on and everything, but somewhere somebody saw something. But my aunt told me that I was.
And how old were you when she told you that?
That's a whole nother story.
Uh-huh.
But when I was going to leave home, I wanted to leave home, but Auntie said, I would rather send you to my friends who are homosexuals in Chicago. Because I wanted to leave home. I had 3 brothers, and mother was overprotective, and it kind of drove me crazy, and I wanted to get out of the house. So that was 2 choices. Either I send you to Chicago, because I was 19, all right, or why don't you join the Army? So I joined the Army. But yeah, I think, I don't know when, but I know it was always a feeling there, and whatever it was, mother was accepting. My mother never gave me a hard time over nothing. I remember my very first girlfriend, I think I was 10. She lived around the corner, and we would just lay on each other and pump, whatever that was, Angela. I don't know, but it felt good. And I've heard stories that that's what a lot of us did and had no clue. No clue at all. Yeah. But I just knew. All I knew was I enjoyed women, and I wanted my children. So after me and my gay husband split, I said, okay, I have to find somebody because I want to keep my son with me, and it was an economic thing.
So you all were married?
I got married twice.
Okay.
Yeah. So me and Ross, we separated, and then there was Henry. So Henry had 3 girls, which was okay by me because I liked kids, and I wanted many because, you know, what you want and what you deal with is a whole nother story. I mean, economics and all that. But I was fortunate. He had a good job. His wives had died. So I moved into the house after we dated, and it was kind of okay. No, he did not know I was a lesbian. No, he did not. Well, very frilly. I was very frilly. I was very mommy, very frilly. So after about less than a month, I found a girlfriend. She was right across the street. So we were together the whole time. Me and my husband were together.
Wow.
But Angela, after a while, dual roles, it's hard. It was very hard. Yeah, I had a good job. I was teaching right across the street. It was wonderful. That part of my life was great. The teaching was great. The children were great. But, you know, she was married. And it wasn't going to be about we were going to live happily ever after and she was going to leave her husband. She had a wonderful husband. But she wasn't going to leave him. No, and she had 1 child. So one day I just had to leave. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard, yeah. But when I came to San Francisco, I saw a big sign that said, welcome to San Francisco. Because when I was in the Army, I wanted to be stationed here. I knew it would be no good for me to be stationed here from what I heard. All these women. But it turned out great here.
What year did you come to San Francisco?
I came here in 1974.
Okay.
When the lesbians were doing it. They were doing it. Workshops, everything. And I just got into the mix. I got a job a week after I arrived here. The secretary upstairs, he was gay. He introduced me to a very well-known woman. She's deceased now, Betty Shoemaker. She was white. Very, very well-known. And so I met her, and they wanted somebody black on the board of an alcoholic situation. I joined the board, and the next thing I knew, I was over at the women's building. Girl, I don't know. Wow. Everything happened so fast. I was a co-founder of Bay Area Black Lesbians and Gays. It was, it just snowballed. Everything just snowballed. And then I started reading. Somebody came to visit me, stayed with me, and said, Midgett, come to L.A. and do a reading. So I went to LA and would do readings there, and I would do workshops there. I had 250 women at my workshops in Los Angeles. I mean, things just kept on snowballing. It was great. I don't know how it all stopped, because things changed. AIDS came. So I can't even tell you the date or the year that things changed. But I knew when the AIDS came, a lot of the women stopped drinking. Then we had the newspaper. So you didn't have to I didn't do bars per se, but you didn't have to go to a bar then. Because in the Bay Times, it showed all these different activities now that you could do. Yeah. And I don't know how my writing got started. I have no idea. But the next thing I know, I was in bookstores reading.
Talking about that change, I mean, from 1974 to 2018, there's been a huge amount of change in San Francisco.
Yes, a lot.
And a lot of conversation over the past years has been with gentrification and homelessness, and the percentage of African Americans who actually live in San Francisco has just dwindled to such a small percentage.
It really
It's
has.
kind of sad.
Yeah. Because there's not many here. What happened, I think, is the women got older or middle age. They moved to Oakland, the lesbians, and bought homes because living here was so expensive.
Yeah.
So a lot of them now are in Oakland.
Yeah.
There's nobody here. I think there's me and maybe... I don't even know if there's 20 black lesbians here in San Francisco. I don't think so. Yeah. A lot of them moved out. And how I know that, when I was the co-founder of NEAR, we started having all the meetings over there in Oakland. I can't even remember if we had a meeting here at all. Yeah, all over in Oakland. So we're talking about 30 years of meetings, but we had our first one in Oakland. Yeah, and then after that we had it in Walnut Creek. But things, I don't even know how they changed. It was just a slow progression. What was the one that I was like co-founder of 3 of them, but they're all gone. And these individuals now, I would say maybe late 50s going on 60, because I was the oldest person of all these groups. So here I am now, 82, and I noticed many of the women in NEAR, they're just starting to retire. Yeah. It makes me sad, but I'm fortunate that I was able to move in another direction and not hold on to all the political ramifications here that happen. Now, when you talk about gentrification and all that, I'm blind to all that because I've been living in my apartment for 27 years. I'm comfortable. I work, I'm comfortable. So I don't want to say I'm ignorant to it. I'm angry about it. I watch the process. But I also am looking at, I'm 82. I don't believe it. And yet I look at younger people than me in their 60s who are just dragging and unhappy. I'm not. So I'm having to deal with a lot of stuff looking at, I go eat lunch with the seniors, okay? They are like 65, 70. The black retired teacher, she's 84, okay? Real sweetheart. And I go in there, and how I got into eating the lunches, I walked past one day and I saw all these gray-haired women. So I walked past and I went in and I said, what's going on in here? And they said, this is the senior lunches. I've been going to the senior lunches almost 2 years, maybe going on 3 when I figure how long I've been in a relationship, right? So $2. I go in, and I go in dancing. I mean, I go in, hey, what's happening? And so now they love me. They love me. They said, you got so much energy, because they're sitting there. And I tell myself, no, Midgett, that's not going to be you, you know? But I love it. I love it. Why? Because they're my age. I belong to OLOC, all the lesbians, Organized for Change. I'm the only black person that shows up there. I go every month. I love it. They're working on their racism. They're working on it. Okay, you're working on it, but we had some kind of workshop one time. I gave a workshop, yeah. And I didn't see where we were any different. Now, when I say any different, you have to look at their age, the time they came up. They didn't have any black neighbors. Their parents worked. They saved the money. They bought the homes. So looking at them, the Jewish women, the Italian women, whatever, I didn't see us any different. But for them, they didn't know us. So I think that's why now they continue to work on their racism, because they didn't know us. They didn't go to school with us. I told them I was the only black in my 4th and 5th grade, in my 6th grade. When I got to junior high school, maybe we had 20 blacks. I didn't even know what a Mexican was until I joined the Army. So all of this was new for them.
Right.
My mother used to say to me and my brothers, never look at your color. Never. Okay? Just have a presence that's not loud. And you must learn how to speak the King's English. My mother badgered that in our heads because she came from the British West Indies. So she said, if you learn how to speak the King's English, which is proper, then the white man, this is my mother's words, the white man will think you have a degree. Lo and behold, people thought I had a master's degree and I didn't have an AA. Mother was right.
Where was your mother from?
Trinidad.
Trinidad. Okay.
Trinidad. And she came here when she was 12. And she had a hard time. First of all, she couldn't speak the language, at first. And then black people gave her a hard time. So her whole community was West Indians. So as I was raised, that's what my mother badgered in my head, because there was no black history. Okay, I just read Marcus Garvey 20 years ago because he was not there. There was no books on him. And I had to read about the black Southern culture beside them being lynched. I knew nothing about that. Okay, so the West Indian community stayed together.
So is that what you were absorbed in
as a kid?
Boston? And, growing up.
That was it.
Yes.
That was it. So the family, my grandmother came here on her own, and she sent for all of her brothers and sisters. And all the brothers and sisters came here, worked for the railroad, did what they did. They did well. They did very well. Yeah. And on some levels, I like the way my mother raised me, but my mother was very prejudiced. She talked about the Southern black like they were dogs, dirty, and had no brains. Well, that was only because that's what she was taught in this country. She didn't know. I mean, I didn't get all this information until I read Ebony magazine, and I was 19 and went to all these white schools. So what did I learn in the white schools about the Peanut Man? Come on now. Okay? There was nothing taught to me about an African-American race. Nothing. There was nothing taught to me by Marcus Garvey. None of that. John Wayne, oh yeah, he saved the country from the Indians. The Mexican women, they were hoochie mamas. So what did I know? All I know is the West Indian culture. This is where my mother wanted me to stay, and that's where I stayed. But once I read that Ebony magazine, I had to get out and see what the world was like. So that's what made me join the Army.
Right.
Yeah.
You've had a fascinating life.
Yeah.
And you got married a couple of years ago?
Yes. I'm a cougar.
You're a cougar?
I'm a cougar.
And what do you mean by that, Midgett?
Well, my friends told me I was a cougar because she's 20 years younger. Mm-hmm. So they told me I was a cougar. And I said, okay, I wear my cougar well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
she's 26. Yeah.
She's 26 years younger than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a sweetie.
So that would make her
56. Same age as my son.
Okay.
And he loves her.
Okay.
Which is so important for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's important for me. Yeah. She's good people. Mm-hmm. She's good people. Yeah.
So we would call that an intergenerational relationship?
I guess so. Was that the millennium too? Is that the word in there?
Have there been challenges in that for you?
None. No. 99% of the women that I've been involved with, and I'm going to say 99%, have been 20 years younger. And they didn't see my age because I told them. I didn't lie. I'm like, oh, girl, get out of here. Because I had that energy. Mm-hmm. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. That's what I project. But as time went on, I'm like, okay, now, I don't want to be a mother. But wonderful people. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I have nothing bad to say about them. Not wonderful people. Mm-hmm. But, as time goes on, you're moving. Mm-hmm. Okay? They're moving. Mm-hmm. But they're young and they're moving. I still don't realize I'm in a relationship. We are like buds. I've been living in my apartment for 27 years. Mm-hmm. I tell her to move in. Mm-hmm. I've been living alone. Mm-hmm. 82. She's 56. What's that all about? It's just natural because I accepted the fact I was going to be in here by myself and let the fingers do the walking with the pussy, and I was happy.
Okay.
Had no problem. Very active, getting ready to write my books, work, getting ready to do workshops. I was contented. It wasn't about me going out there to find nobody.
Well, people talk about lesbian bed death in our community, and that as couples come together, there's some sense of sexual intimacy that's lost. And certainly, as you put in the aging component, many people would say, oh, Black lesbians, 65, 75, sex is something that is no longer of interest and it doesn't happen anymore. What's your response to that for people who are kind of boxed in terms of the way in which they think about sexual intimacy and aging?
You need to talk about it first. Mm-hmm. That's important. I just talked to a woman the other day, and she told me she's like in her middle 40s. And she said her sexual partner, it's not working, she said. But I told her there's a process when you have a relationship. When you first meet the person, it's hot and heavy. You're going to screw each other to death, right? Then you get to a point where you're buddies. You're buds. But you have to know how to get back at the way it started. And this happens in relationships with people that have children. Because my neighbor, he's not my neighbor, but the school that I was teaching at. So he was telling me this summer, he said, the children are gone. What are me and my wife going to do? I said, oh, you got a problem. I said, what do you mean, what are you and your wife going to do? I said, you are stopped now at the gate? Good God. I said, don't do that. I said, when you go home, you think about what you all did in the beginning. Now you all have this free time to do it. He said, Midgett, I'm going to think about that. He went home and he said, yay. And this is what happens. It is a process. Now, I don't know if it's because of my age and I enjoy sex.
Even at 82.
Oh, girl. Let's not even go there.
Okay.
Let's not even go there, okay? I love it. And my girlfriend loves it. You know what I told her? I said, I'm just coming into my sexuality. I'm just. Yeah, because I enjoy sex. I did enjoy sex, but there was just something there, not the right partner. But I'll tell you what makes this relationship so fabulous. It's almost as if, and maybe this is the wrong term, but it's almost as if she's the instructor. Okay? And she will say to me, do whatever you want to do. That's what she'll say. Do whatever you want to do. So it's almost like I'm getting permission from someone. Did I need the permission? I don't know. But I know now. We will sit and she'll say that. I said, yeah, I will try it. And she'll say, oh, baby, whatever you want to do. I am here. Use the body. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm still a little shy. I can honestly say that. I can sit here and say that. I am a little shy because all those years, I'm a very aggressive person. And I was very aggressive. But was I really aggressive, or did I just want to do it? And I did it. And it was nice, But now it's different because I write fantasy. So now to act out this fantasy, because with my books, I write stories. And when the story is finished, I suggest to you, write your own story and act it out, or write your own story and masturbate. All of my books are stories that I wrote. The stories are not personal stories because I have a good imagination. So they're highly sexual when you read them. My girlfriend reads the stories. And what she says, where's the next part? Come on, I want the next part. Keep going with the next part. She says, whoa, these are good, And it's nice to have that part of her because she reads them and she says, geez, these make me excited. I said, good. All I can say, Angela, my sex life is wonderful, and it has nothing to do with my age. It's about the kind of partner that you have and how open are you to talking. And if there is a lull in the relationship sexually, talk about it. Just talk about it. Just say, well, I'm not up to this or something. But don't go along with the headaches every day. That's a bunch of bull. You know what I mean? Because if you're getting headaches every day, there's something wrong. Either you have a legitimate headache or you playing some kind of game on somebody. It's okay to be tired. It is. It really is. But, so let the finger crawl up to you. Okay? And you get a little move, get a little groove on with the finger moving, and then pass out. Because that's what we do. Your finger might move and my finger might move. We think we going to sleep. Next thing we know, hey, and we screaming and sweating, and next day, it is good. What can I say? Yeah.
I'm sure the average person on the street who passes you by would never assume that you're a writer of erotica or that you would feel this the way which you've just told us. Because we have so many assumptions about older women and sex, not for men, but certainly with older women. You don't want to be a quote-unquote dirty old woman, and dirty old women have sex, so older women don't have sex. That's what the general, I think, message is. So to talk about that otherwise kind of blows some people's minds.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I talk sex to the older men and to the older women right here on my block. I'm a very friendly person because there's only 3 blacks here, okay? And some of them might say, oh, what do you do? I said, I write sex for men and women over 55. You are kidding. No, I'm not. You married? What are you doing with her? They will roll. But they don't feel embarrassed, I think, because they want to talk about it. They really do. And I don't think when we reach a certain age that we're dead. I don't think so. I think maybe society has conditioned you, whether you're straight or gay, that when you reach a certain age, you really don't want to do it. I mean, what do you want to do that for? Right. It's good.
Right.
You feel rejuvenated. You're relaxed. There's one senior over there. She is a sweetheart. And she says to me, Midgett, can you find me a man? And she is so pretty. Yeah, she ain't dead, But some people, even in a marriage, they think, well, I guess I don't want it. Maybe he doesn't either. Or maybe he will think that I'm too old. or maybe she's not pretty enough. But you know what? If you still want to have sex, whether you're straight or whatever you are, you need to talk about it. How long your relationship is and you're beginning to feel a little funny, talk about it. Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Write a love letter. Write a letter to your sweetheart and say, sweetheart, I thought about licking your pussy this morning. What do you think? Can you answer this within the hour?
Okay.
Really, it's just that simple. Now, and then after you write a letter, the person can take and look at it and absorb it and then come back. Okay? But if we sit down and we talk about it, and we see our conversation is not working, because, see, sometimes when you want to talk, you get interrupted. So you never complete the thought. So I always tell my clients, write a letter. And then after you finish writing a letter, then you talk about it. One relationship I wanted to break up with. I didn't want to break up with it in my house. I didn't want that energy. Okay? So we went somewhere. And what I suggested we do was sit and write what's not working in the relationship. We both wrote the same thing, exact same thing, what was not working. So I said to her, all right, we're writing the same thing. What's going to happen with this? Who's going to improve? I said, blink, blink. So she said, okay, I'm going to do better. We're going to talk. We're going to go out. We're going to have sex. And then I said, okay, so let's put a time frame on it. Because I'm getting older. And you are 20 years young. I ain't waiting all day for you. Okay? So 3 months later, we came back to the table. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. So I said, well, we need to dissolve the relationship. Well, you know what happened with that, right? Got mad, called me all kinds of names. Whatever, okay? We're like this. We're tight. We are tight. We laugh about it now, okay? But, yeah, you got to figure out how to do it. And for me, I think a letter is better. But, I mean, if you got a goal, you can take and set the goal. Like me and my girlfriend, our goal is she finished school, I make $1 million on my books, and we take vacations every 3 months. That's what we'll do. And that'll be good. Yeah,
Sounds
fuck every day and twice on Sunday if we can do it.
Okay. Okay.
It's good. It's good. Aging has nothing to do with it. There's nothing to do with it. It's all about who you are and what you want in two relationships. Your own self. Because you can have a relationship with yourself. You get up in the morning, because both we get up and we look in the mirror, we say, oh, we fine. So that's a relationship with self. Because if you can't look at self and talk about how wonderful and great you are, what do you think somebody else is seeing? They ain't seeing what you're saying, because you ain't seeing nothing about you. Okay? Or a relationship with your partner. There's 3 things. Relationship with yourself, a relationship with your partner, and a relationship with the world. Because the world encompasses your job. That's your job, okay? Now, if you're going to get up in the morning, look at your girlfriend and say, oh, why? Or you get up in the morning, you go out your door and you say, oh, why? Or you go to work and you get on your door, oh, why? All these whys. Why am I here? Why am I in this relationship? Why? You got to figure out. You getting older? That's not going to change. That ain't changing at all. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with this aging process? Okay? You can dye your hair. That's okay. You can dye your hair if you want. You think it'll make you look younger? If you think it beautifies you, then dye your hair. If you go bald, dye your hair. But inside, are you feeling good? You got to feel good, because every day you're going to get older. It's not going to change. It ain't about no tummy tuck. Okay? It's not about a tummy tuck. It's not about a facelift. Because what's going to happen as you get older, it's going to affect your body. It's going to affect your face. So you don't want to do that. This aging process is good. I got to tell you, It's good. It's good. I'm having a good time. I really am. Why? Because I don't know I'm getting old. I don't have a clue. I really don't. And I hope the young women that are listening to this, take the age as it comes, but do something with yourself now. If you're 40, this is the time. You start looking in the mirror every day when you reach the age of 40. Stop looking, because your face is going to change. If you look at your lips, look at your eyes, and look at your hair. They change. That's the process. That's the aging process. That starts to change, because you don't want to dye your hair and get these lips done in the nose, and one day you wake up and you're really going to look different, because it's going to stretch all out of shape. Accept it, but inside feel good, because when you reach my age, you will still accept the fact that you're beautiful, that you're beautiful. And if you're working on a job and it's making you age, you got to figure out, do you want to stay on this job if it's aging you, or I didn't get my degree till I was 50. I was 50 years old. You know why? I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. But I knew I was enjoying life. And I didn't take a regular teaching job under contract till I was well over 50. And all I have now is my Social Security and my state teacher's retirement. And that ain't about nothing. But you know what? I always did other things to bring in the income. I was a counselor for 26 years. Okay? I'm now writing these books. They will make me money.
Tell me about your books. So you have 2 books you've published so far?
My first one was New York flavor with a San Francisco beat. There are irresistible erotic stories for men and women age 55. And the other one here is the lesbian book, Brown on Brown, Black Lesbian Erotica. These are short stories for bedtime reading.
Oh.
Yes. And I think the women need to buy it. I think the lesbians need to buy the book. What I want the world to see. I want the world to read. But to also know at the age of 82, you're not dead. That's why I'm writing these books. That's why I'm writing them. I want you to know that I'm having a good time.
Yes.
I am. I'm really having a good time. And I keep hopping on the aging process because it's real.
Yes.
You're going to get older, and it's up to you. So for me, it's important to get this book out so people will know the aging process is good. And sex is only over if you're sick. If you're not sick, have a conversation. Okay? And remember, you have fingers. And let your fingers touch the clit. Okay?
What is the one thing you want to leave our listeners with today?
I want you to know aging is good, but it depends on how you take it. It depends on how you use it. It depends on how you feel every day when you get up in the morning and you see yourself aging, or you feel yourself aging. Look at what's going on now while you are 50. Look at your job, look at your health, and look at yourself. And what are you giving to yourself at the age of 40 or 50?
So if someone wants to purchase your books, how would they do that? Or they want to contact you for a public speaking opportunity or a workshop opportunity, how do they contact you?
Okay. My email address is Midgett, SF, at AOL.com.
Midgett, thank you for being a part of our Black Lesbian Herstory today on the Zammy Nobla podcast.
It's good.
One thing about Midgett, she's always memorable. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with her as we were on location in San Francisco. If you have any feedback or comments, feel free to email me at podcast@zaminobla.org. Again, it was great having your ear this day, and I look forward to spending many more conversations with you in the future as we continue to make Black lesbian history. Have a sweet one.